There's a very uncomfortable truth that I learned, I'd say maybe like 5 or 6 years into my writing journey. Um, I'd say sometime around the time I was going for my MFA, there was a very deep sort of realization that nobody was ever going to hand me a publishing deal. And obviously, I knew that on a very logical level, right? Like, I think anyone who basically starts writing it all basically realizes the process is long, it's hard, and no one's just going to give you it, right? No one's just going to hand you basically a deal. But there was a certain misunderstanding, there was a certain, I think, misguided belief that I was clinging to, and it was not logical. It was a very subconscious sort of belief. It was not this logical thing in the forefront of my mind, but it was something that was sort of swirling in the back of my head for a long time that I didn't even realize was framing a lot of my thoughts. And the idea was this: someone might take a chance on you. That idea was very, very toxic, and it's one that I clung to for a very, very long time. And yes, it's not, to think this way is not as bad as thinking someone's going to hand you a publishing deal, right? Like, it's not as bad as, thinking you're just going to get it because you've got X, Y, and Z thing, right? You've got a good social media platform, or you got a really good story idea. Like, it's a really good idea for a story. I mean, yeah, the writing's bad, but like the idea is really good, and I think maybe they can make it, maybe like an editor at a publishing house can maybe fix it up for me or something like that. So to think this way was not as bad as those kind of thoughts, right? But the idea that I had, the idea that someone might take a chance on me, that is very, very, very misguided. And it gives a lot of false hope in this process. Because when someone says that, when someone says the idea of, hey, I'm going to take a chance on you, or maybe this person will take a chance on me, what you're saying is that, yeah, my work might be passable. It might be meh. It might be, it might be just a little bit below what they're really looking for, but someone might see it and might be like, I'm gonna give this kid a chance. I'm gonna take a chance on this kid's dreams here. That's very, very dangerous. Number one, I don't think that happens. Like, I don't think many people ever. I don't think anyone ever gets a taking a chance thing. No one ever goes to the person who just kind of like, who gets really close to meeting that mark and goes, I'll take a chance on you. Maybe it happens in movies, but I have not seen that happen much in real life. But it also is a very dangerous thought, because you're setting yourself up basically to not do well. You're giving yourself a free pass. You're giving yourself a pass in those moments where you have to double down and work harder. You're giving yourself a pass to say, this is good enough because, and maybe they'll take a chance. Like, it's good enough, they'll take a chance on me. That is dangerous. That you cannot do that. In addition to the idea that you are also taking a certain element of your fate out of your own hands. You're sort of putting your fate in someone else's hands, in a sense, which, yes, the publishing process to a degree is like that. But you're saying, you know what, I'm gonna let them decide if I'm good enough to get published. It's very, very dangerous. You can't do that. In this process, you have to be the one who basically breaks that standard. If the bar is set at like an 8 out of 10 to be published, right? You got to be writing stories that are like 9s and 10s. You cannot just barely get in or just barely meet the standard, because no one's giving you that chance. You've got to you cannot risk something that you care about, like your manuscript. If you really care about your manuscript, you cannot risk it just getting there, it just being good enough to maybe get published. You have to go above that. And again, I feel like movies do the worst disservice to us. I really do. I've mentioned, I think, a similar idea before here, but I think films tend to give us this sort of underdog mentality that we all see ourselves as the underdog. We all view ourselves as the underdog, that, the kid that gets the golden ticket to, the candy factory, or the Rocky who gets their shot at that, the title fight, right? And as long as maybe we go the distance, right? As long as maybe we can just hold our own, yeah, we know, but if we can hold our own, hey, it's a small victory. These films give the wrong idea. When it comes to your goals and your ambitions, you cannot be the underdog. You can't. You need to be the bad guy. Like, you got to be the guy who's dominating everyone else. You got to be the fighter, not the underdog boxer. You got to be the boxer who's undefeated, who's knocking everybody else out. Be him. Try and be like that guy. Don't try and be the underdog who tries to sneak out a win against the champion, upset him in some victory. No, you got to be the champ who's dominating everyone. You've got to be the bad guy. You got to be the villain in these movies that beats the hell out of the hero for the entire damn time. And then, yeah, obviously at the end, they lose because Hollywood, has to give the hero the win. But you cannot be the hero who gets their butt kicked every single time, gets a really low moment, comes back and gets a win. You should not try to be that way. Yes, that's a very common experience amongst us who go through that, right? Rejection, eventually we overcome that. But you don't want to idolize that. You don't want to be that person. In a perfect world, and you at your best skill level, you want to be the villain who dominates the entire time. You want to be the boss, right? The boss in the video game. You want to be the end character, the character of the end of the level who's so overpowered that you spend countless attempts trying to eventually beat it. That is what you need to be, because no one's giving you the chance. So you have to be so good. You have to be so overly impressive at what you do and so dominating at what you do that you're not leaving it to chance. That there's no one to take a chance on. That you simply get your contract offer, you get your publishing deal because your book is so damn good. The publishing company is going to lose money if they don't take you. Your book is so awesome that if they don't take you, the next publisher is going to take you, and they're going to make $500 million off your your books and your royalties and your sales and the movie deals, and obviously being half a billion whatever is a bit, obviously a bit of an exaggeration, but you get my point. You got to be so good that it's financially difficult. It would be financially impossible not to offer you a deal. That's how good you need to be. Now, what that requires of you is to be absolutely amazing at your skill level. You need to be absolutely dominant in your skill. And if you're a writer, that means you got to write books that are impressive, that are at the top echelon. You cannot write books that are just meh anymore. I don't think so, at least. I don't want to put that fate in someone else's hands. I don't trust that one bit. When I go into this process, I always, when I started querying agents, I started looking for publishers, especially like that last book. I went in there because I believed it was stronger than the standard. I believe it was higher than what the standard was to get in. That I wouldn't need someone to take a chance on me. That I did it basically because I thought my book basically was at a point where, yes, it's going to be publishable. Now, if you've been following my journey with my first manuscript, you know that obviously I had a deal or potential deal with one agent by we got into an argument. Or I wouldn't say an argument, but there were some creative differences over corrections that would need made to the story that I didn't want to make these corrections. Fell through. Then I found a publisher, basically made the same comments on corrections I would need to make, and then basically I ended up making them, resubmitted them, and have not. I'm in that kind of a limbo state right now. So, despite I suppose the best of efforts, right? Despite the best of intentions there with this, yes, the reality is that yes, your work might just be passable. Your work might just might end up being the work that it just barely gets over the bar. But you're not getting they're not taking a chance on you, right? No one's risking their financial a bad financial quarter on your story, right? No publishing house, no agency is going to waste their time on a story they don't think has a chance. And so to kind of bring this back, in this process, you need to keep that in mind, that no one is taking a chance. No one, it can't be done today. It can't. Maybe there was a time a long time ago when, I don't know if this time period ever really existed, but maybe there was a time when maybe, publishing was more profitable, where they could take chances on newer newer writers and newer authors with, maybe with some really good ideas, and maybe their work wasn't, the best quality, but, they had some good ideas, and they're passable stories that we think might catch an audience. It happens. Nowadays, it doesn't happen. You need to be really, really good, or your book needs to be really, really interesting if it's not good. And that's definitely an element of it as well. I would argue that still means it's really good, even if the prose is not particularly done well, right? We see so many books that are on the New York Times publishing list that these bestsellers are, you've seen plenty, I'm sure, that are simply not written well, and you wonder who the hell buys these books. Well, someone is. Yeah, they may not be the best prose, but they are good. They are good in the sense that they cater to an audience that's willing to buy them. So ultimately, that is what we need, an audience that's willing to buy our books. We need to be of that skill. But I would argue that your prose needs to be stronger. Your characters need to be deeper. I would argue that you need to push and make your work of a stronger quality, because you do not ever want to get the mentality of, it's okay, maybe someone takes a chance. That I feel like that is a rut, and it kept me in a very, very low place in this writing process for a very long time. It kept me for a lot of years. 5-6 years, my writing, when I started getting serious, I kept that mentality. I had that mentality of, maybe they'll take a chance on me. Maybe someone will take a chance. And you can't have that. I wish someone had told me this at the very start. I might have worked a little bit harder right at the very beginning. But yeah, no one's taking a chance. You either are or you're not. There's financially, no organization, no publisher, no agent is going to take a chance on somebody anymore. They don't take chances. They go after what's perceived to be very, very good odd bets. That's what they take. They take bets with good odds or favorable odds. Because any deal can go bad, but they are not taking it unless they think there's a good odd that you are going to do well. And with that, unfortunately, there's no chances. There's no room for mediocrity in that world, unfortunately. Whew. But yeah, so I'm ending this here. I will see you all tomorrow. I hope that is a little bit inspiring. I hope maybe that gets rid of that myth, the idea of someone taking a chance. I hope maybe that helps. But yeah, I will see you all tomorrow. Until then, happy writing.